probably one of the most popular songs ever, right?
It is very recognizable.
Everybody knows right away it's the show.
Yeah.
Probably one of the greatest shows and most popular shows in the history of television. Cops.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for
We got FAR Chief of Police Andy Harvey here with us, man. How's it going, Andy?
Man, it's going good. Finally get to be on your show.
I know,
Welcome.
bro. I know.
Thank you.
It's awesome to have you here.
Thank you, brother.
Who'd you bring with you, man?
And I brought one of my good guys, man, from FAR PD. He's one of my deputy chiefs, Johnny Gonzalez. He's over our investigations bureau.
Orale. Man, how's the investment? You know, I want to talk to you about just the whole idea of investigating a crime, man. That's it takes a lot of mental work, doesn't it?
It does. A lot of work, a lot of details, and yeah, it's not easy.
So we're going to be talking with him in just a bit, ladies and gentlemen, but want to let you know it's a special Thursday Night Live.
Hey.
Hashtag PVT, ASUSTAME one time. Right here in the smack of the middle of Edinburgh, Society 204, a co-working community, providing a productive work environment for RGV entrepreneurs. What do you all think of the building, man? It's nice,
Man,
right?
It's a cool building.
Right.
Very artsy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, Nick Cantu, he just did a fantastic job with his building.
Yes.
And there's also some office space next door as well.
Mm-hmm.
And this one used to be the old J.C. Penney
Is that right?
back in the day. You know, back when, you know, all the little downtowns in every city in the Rio Grande Valley was thriving, you know what I mean? With the railroad and the agriculture and all that. And we're right next to the courthouse, man. Is it looking awesome or what?
Awesome. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Should be done this year by that?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of history around.
Yeah, and some dude went and shot up the windows there. It was a while back, right?
Yes.
Some dude, they were like, what, why would you go do that? That's kind of juvenile, I think I would say. But they caught the guy because nowadays there's cameras everywhere, right?
Everywhere.
And that's one of the major, as far as when we're talking about investigations and stuff like that, right away, look around for cameras, right? That's what you got to do, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, you got to come and check this place out. It's beautiful. Every guest that we have here in the studio, they always agree and concur that this place is one of the most beautiful office spaces there is in the Rio Grande Valley, and it's situated right here in the heart of Edinburgh's historic downtown district. You can give them a call and get a tour at 956-887-1143. 887-1143. And if you do get a space around here, you'll be our neighbors. Eh? How cool is that, right?
Yes.
You know, right? Even though we're here at night and you all will probably be here in the day, but we walk in here sometimes and there's people working still kind of late, you know. So andan bien RocknRollJames y rally. Jalando overtime, carnal. Cállate la boca,
Shut up.
And it's brought to you by Dr. T's Primary Care for Men and Women. Lose weight, feel younger, healthier again. It's a new year. It's a new you. Call 956-441-2188. If you feel sluggish, tired, you gain weight, and you're looking for a primary care clinic to help improve your quality of life, you give them a call, ladies and gentlemen. And you can try that hormone replacement therapy. It's testosterone. And like I was saying last night, it kind of like, one of the side effects, Chief, is a sore lower back and hips. Porque pues toda la noche, brother, me tienen la onda entrando el hip shaking shuffle, carnal, me tienen la onda, carnal. Cállate la boca, shut up. Dice que el testosterone, the next day estás, oye, ¿por qué me duele acá, vieja? Pues venga, viejo, anoche andabas como un loco. I'm sorry, vieja. No, síguele. Síguele. Aquí está el Ben Gay. Ponte listo para la noche. Otra vez. Dr. T's Primary Care for Men and Women. 956-441-2188. Women, they've got some for you. Weight loss therapy también, hombre. You got to give them a call and tell them RocknRollJames sent you. Plus, you want with Rocks on too, all right? Órale.
What's the number?
It's 956.
I'll get it later.
Let me put it.
441-2188.
Thank you.
She's got the number in her emergency call
Yes.
list.
Speed dial.
Yeah. You need to come pick this guy up. He needs something. So we're also on Patreon, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to support the show, we pay rent. We got a lot of stuff we do, and sometimes Every little bit you can pitch in for us, it helps out, and we appreciate it. And plus, sometimes we bring down artists, and we take care of their hotel and their food and all that stuff. So whatever you help us out with, it's appreciated. You can go to our Patreon. Visit patreon.com on your mobile device or desktop. Search RocknRollJames PVT, and you can select the membership level. Official patron is $3. All access patron, $9. It's a little bit. And then we've got the VIP patron, which is $25 a month. Okay. Now you get 2 T-shirts. You get a PVT T-shirt like the one the chief of police from FAR Chief Andy is wearing, and you also get a Rockin' Chaz shirt. Okay. So. Once again, it only takes 2 minutes or less to sign up, choose a membership level, and add your payment method and have exclusive access. I've been putting some video footage that nobody else has seen. There's stuff, we have so much stuff, and we don't put it all on social media. We save it for our special patrons on Patreon, all right? So thank you so much. So something really crazy happened in FAR, Texas. 3 brothers, they beat their stepfather to death because they found out that allegedly, you got to say allegedly, right? I mean, or apparently, because there's still a due process that has to be taken care of and all that. Right. But he allegedly molested their 9-year-old stepsister. So we're going to talk with the chief about that. He did a press conference on Sunday, because there's been some things that have been occurring with that whole investigation and warrants and all that stuff. So we're going to talk about that. If you have any questions, we're going to try to catch them all. Producer Rally is on the chat zone as well. So if you really want the question asked, you might want to do a super chat.
Yes.
And that way, your question stays up there and we'll see it, okay? Mm-hmm. And by the way, Chief and Chief Investigator, Johnny, my wife, Rally, baby. What's going on?
Hey. Welcome to the studio. Thank you guys for coming in and hanging out with us. Those of you all that are in the chat box, thank you guys for hanging out as well. Yeah,
we appreciate you taking the time. And Chief, where exactly are you from originally, man? Before we get to what's going on in over there in FAR, right? I want to find out about you because we've hung out, and I've never really sat down and asked you exactly where you're from and how you ended up in FAR, Texas. So where are you from, man?
I was born and raised down here in the Rio Grande Valley. I was mainly raised in Harlingen, Texas. So shout out to Harlingen.
You're a Cardinal, okay?
I was. We moved just right before I went to high school. But my years are formed right here in the Valley, man. I love Valley. I love that. I went away, but I'm back, and I just love being
I want to know all about that. I mean, you were born here in the Rio Grande Valley?
Nat Memorial Hospital.
Westlaco.
Yeah.
¿Por qué Westlaco? ¿No vivías en Harlingen? ¿Tus parents no vivían en Harlingen, okay?
No, they lived in Donna. They lived all over the Valley, man.
But your parents, where were they living when you were born?
Oh, yeah.
They were in Donna or what?
They were in Donna. My mom's in Mexico, so she came over here, married my dad, and pues aquí estoy.
What part of Mexico, man?
Monterrey,
Nuevo León.
Yeah, I love that, man.
So you got family over there?
Oh, yeah, I do, man.
You ever go over there and check it out?
Not lately.
No.
But I do want to go, and I ask people, hey, vamos, y todos se rajan.
There's a fear of going over there.
Yeah,
right?
there is. But I do want to go. I told my wife, vamos. She said, no, you go by yourself.
Well, I've had some my friends and family that have gone to Tequila and Guadalajara and Cancun and stuff like that. And they drive across the FAR bridge. They say the airport's right there.
Right. Yeah.
And it's real cheap to fly. Yeah, you can fly to Cabo for like $300.
Yeah.
But and then if you go to Monterrey, but they usually take the Ansalduas bridge,
right,
and take the carretera because you don't want to go through Reynosa because it's a bit dangerous in that area. So your mom's from Monterrey. She came over and she married. Is he a white guy or
He's
what?
A white guy, but it's
Harvey.
No, it's a very interesting story. My dad was born in FAR, Texas, ahí por la Clark Street. He was born in the house, man, 1937. The deal about my dad is that on the day one he was born, they gave him to the Garzas in FAR.
Orale.
So he was born. He's white, but he was born and raised by the Garzas, and that's all he knows. Lo miras, you see him, and he's white, but man, all his culture and his Spanish, everything is Mexicano, Mexican culture.
Yeah, and he was given to the Garzas.
Just here you go, literally over the fence, right?
And how did that happen, or why? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you know your grandparents?
You know what? I met him one time, and my dad finally met his parents. His biological mother when he was 57 years old. And he got to meet his biological mother. That was crazy. That was crazy, man.
Yeah, dude. I mean, just to hear stories like that, and then the results is a chief of police in FAR. I mean, it's like somebody that's been an asset to the community, and works for the community.
No, it's crazy to come back this many years later and to be the chief where my dad was. It's really cool, man.
Is your dad still alive?
Yeah, thank God. He's 84 years old, man.
Wow, man.
Still kicking, thank God.
Sí.
But, yeah, he's a cool dude, man. He's a cool guy, man.
Yeah. And so, ¿qué pasó, Jenny?
No, I said he visits every now and then.
He does.
He came down.
Pero no vive aquí en el Valle?
No, allá en San Anto. And when he comes down, we go to the junction. He used to go back in the day, man. So we go to the junction. He likes it.
Yeah, the junction is a very popular restaurant. It's been there in FAR for a long time. And we'd go
all the
2
time.
in the morning. Dame unos huevos volteados con pinche breaker.
They have this bacon that it's like extremely crispy. Oh my
extra
God.
crispy.
Extra crispy is
The
the
way
way
you
we like it.
We
Yes.
have a story, man. One time, the waitress, she loved me, bro. She was like, she's super
Bien
awesome.
chiflada,
She'd
chiflada
flirt with
contigo.
me. She was an older woman, right?
Yeah.
And so she'd flirt with me, and I said, "No tienes algo de postre?" And it was like 2:30 in the morning, right? We're eating breakfast. Pues yo el sweet tooth, chinga, tengo que echarle dessert y la chinga. Doesn't matter what time of day or night it is, ¿me entiendes? Y dice, sí, tenemos pineapple. Dije, órale, está bueno, pues tráeme un slice. So she comes and it's apple pie, and I was like, este no es piña. No es pineapple. Yo no dije pineapple. You said pineapple. Dije pineapple. Dije pineapple. Dije pineapple.
She was all mad, right?
Está bueno, dijiste pineapple.
But did you eat it?
Of course.
Tráeme un Cool Whip también. But no, man, really, saludos para Mr. Fong.
Cool guy.
He also has a little bar next to it.
He's a drummer too. You know all that,
and all his puro pinche prime musician van para allá. Tan desgraciados todos los musicians que tocan ahí adentro, bro.
Yep.
They've been around for a long time. And then next to that, there was like an adult theater. It was called the Texas Theater, which showed nothing but adult movies back in the day. Now it's un salon and all that, but I always freaked out with that, man. You know what I mean? I used to go, right, and for fun, right? I'd sit in the back row and with a water gun full of Jergens lotion, bro. And I would I was throwing. Would I get arrested in FAR for doing that or not?
No, because we wouldn't go in there. So you do your thing.
Estaban los vatos watchando el adult movie de repente. Hey, qué chingas. Che, Jergens lotion, qué chingas.
But I got rocked.
Oh, man. So, anyway, back to Harvey, right?
Yes.
So, your dad, and he moved to Donna, and he met your mom.
Yeah, he met my mom, and they fell in love. Pues ya sabes, and here we are, man. My mom's a beautiful Latin girl, man, Mexicana. So she
still alive también?
No, man.
She passed away.
She died about 27 years ago. She was 49 when she died, brother. And,
what did she pass away of?
Cancer, man. Cancer.
Wow,
yeah, man. And it's one of those stories that of course, man, it's my mother, and she died in my, while I was holding her, man, and I could. It's one of those things, man. They're suffering, and you hate that they're suffering, and you want God to do something, man. Either heal her or take her, because you don't want to see him like that. And when I prayed that, I remember that in a few hours, she left, but she was ready though. She was ready.
How old were you when that happened?
I was 24, 25, something like that.
So, did you go to school in Donna, or did you go to school in Harlingen, or the majority of your schooling where it was
majority
here
was
locally?
up to Harlingen, y luego Donna, y luego nos fuimos para San Anto, and then up there.
So you were in Harlingen first, and then you came to Donna, and then you went up to San Antonio.
We went up San Antonio and started San Antonio College.
How old were you when you all moved to San Antonio?
17, 18.
So 18 years old. And so you were out of high school. So what school did you graduate from?
Well, I went to a school in Alamo.
Okay.
But it was a private school.
Okay.
It was a church school. So the last year was, it was not accredited. So I just graduated and I ended up, taking the test and getting my GED and kept going. I went to college, San Antonio College, and eventually 20 years later, I finally finished my bachelor's, and then I went back for my master's and all that. But it took me a while.
Yeah.
But I did it, man. I did it.
How old? What year was this?
Shoot, man.
You were
88.
20, 88?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you went
87, 88.
You got into college in San Antonio, and what were you going to get your basics? I mean, you got your master's on it.
Well, yeah, Rock, I didn't even know, man. My parents didn't go to college or nothing like that. So I went, and I remember going to STAC, and I said, I want to go to school. And there was a lot of different lines, man. I didn't even know where to start, man. But I knew I had to go. So, young Andy, I get in the back of a line, and then I finally get to the front. Oh, you're in the wrong line. Oh, gee. So get back there, and I had to go to another line, and I had to figure it out, man.
Yeah.
But you know what? I knew that I needed to do that. And I got my way, I found my way through it. But
whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. But you know what? I knew I had to do it. But I didn't finish. Dallas PD. If you got the Dallas PD was recruiting one weekend, and I was married with my wife and a little 2-year-old.
And you were how old? 24, 25?
22, 23.
Okay.
And we had our daughter Samantha. And, I needed a good job, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, they came down recruiting in San Antonio College. They said, we're going to be here this weekend. And my wife saw it. Hey, what do you think about this? And I thought, pues está bueno. Let me go check it out.
Yeah.
Let's just see what it's about. And nobody, one thing led to another, just boom, 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 boom. Next thing you know, about 3-4 months later, I'm in Dallas, Texas. My wife and I, con nada. We didn't know anybody, just us and our baby. And but we said, you know what? If we're going to do this, not being with family, we're going to go. And we're going to do some good stuff.
You took the big leap of faith
So we did, man, by ourselves, man. Back then, we didn't have any, that was just us. But you know what? We got through it, brother. We got through it, and very blessed to have a good career in Dallas. And
how long were you in Dallas?
I was 21 years in
Dallas. You started as a rookie street beat policeman.
I learned policing in Dallas, Texas.
And how was it working in Dallas? Did you see a lot of, was crime really bad back then in the 90s? I know in the 90s you had, Clinton and the current president, and they all put a bill together, the 3 strikes you're out and all this. So we're really tough on crime back then.
Yeah.
But Dallas is a big city, right?
Well, big city, you see everything. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. One time I asked, one thing I asked the chief is, hey, how was it like working in the Dallas Police Department? Big city, big department. So kind of interested to see, hey, what's that's like.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's young. You see a lot. You learn a lot. So I learned a lot, man, and it really helped me. Kind of where I'm at today to help.
How far up the ranks did you go up in Dallas?
Up to major, police major.
So when you've got you got what is it? The rookie is called a private or what?
Well, no, just police officer.
Police officer. Okay.
Corporal.
Okay.
Sergeant. Lieutenant. Major. So yeah, deputy chief and then chief.
And then the chief tells, then it's a chain of command, and it goes down all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, but it's a huge department. 3,600 officers, right? So so you have a big area of responsibility, man. So,
they went through some really tough time. I don't know, were you there when they shot when that guy shot like 5 cops and killed them?
I was still working in DPD. Yeah.
Wow, man, that was crazy, dude.
It was
tough times right there for law enforcement.
Yeah,
that time, man, and even still, man, you think about it, and it's not even like it can't be real, man.
Well, it's happening a lot more often now.
Yeah, look what happened in Houston just this last week, man. It's just been a nonstop. Man.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a bit. So, Dallas PD, and I have a friend that wanted me to say hi to you. So, I'm Mark Gonzalez. Un saludo para Mark. De Palestine, Texas.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, salúdale el chief. Era el chief de police aquí in Palestine. So you ended up in Palestine after the Dallas PD?
I did. I retired from there and went to go work in East Texas, man. Just a different place, East Texas, Palestine. Can I say Palestine?
It's Palestine or Palestine?
It's Palestine, yeah. Because it's okay with me, pero si va para allá, they're going to tell you, hey, it's Palestine.
Yeah.
But no, it's a really cool place. Beautiful. East Texas is a beautiful place. But no.
He's pretending to be a mechanic over there right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He told me I got to go to Palestine in Christmas, right?
Yeah,
They got that train.
Oh, they got
down,
that train. No, but it's a cool place, man.
It's a train. What they got a train over there?
They got a cool train that goes like the what's the name of that?
Like an old locomotive type.
Old one, and you get to eat dinner. But during Christmas, they have the whole hot chocolate and the what's that?
Polar Express.
Polar Express.
Yes, I've seen that.
Hey,
I've
we gotta
seen
go.
that. I know.
But you got to buy early because man, it gets packed. But you go in your pajamas, and it's a lot of fun.
Really,
it's a big deal. Big deal.
Wow, man! Did you go in your pajamas when you went, or no? Dan?
I
know that. My wife will make me wear pajamas.
Matching ones too.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that,
probably here too.
When that happens, manhood walks right out the door, dude. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
We gotta all do it, probably.
Yeah. You have no choice.
Yeah. So then you were in Palestine for a while. How was it there? How was it working there, bro?
Man, I'll tell you what.
How big is Palestine?
It's about 20-something thousand people, 20,000.
Is it like the size of Far?
San Juan, maybe?
San Juan.
Far's already 90,000 people.
Wow.
So that's about the size of, what do you think?
Probably San Juan, maybe
San Juan,
Alamo.
a la mejor? Yeah. But it's by itself, so there's no neighboring cities, so it's kind of by itself. And the biggest thing over there are the 5 prisons. They have 5 prisons around this. Right? A lot of people are correctional officers. And Yeah. But it's a cool place, man. I learned a lot there too, man.
How long were you there?
I was there for a little over 2 years. And
was that your first chief of police
gig? That was my
gig?
first gig, man. Yeah.
And did you did they call you in Dallas, or did you find out about it, or you wanted to make a different change, or what?
Well, that was something that I had in my career, right? I wanted to do it at some point, and that opportunity came up, and went through the whole process. You get 3 days worth of interviews and community, todo eso, and ended up getting the job. So I said, let's go. And never been there before either, but it turned out to be a really
for
cool
a city to hire a chief of police. It takes it's like a Senate hearing. Is it like something like that?
Yes, it is, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
they gotta vet you. They gotta make sure, and there's and then everybody's got their favorites, and then it's like,
and you look at someone wrong, no, but he's out, and you look at no. So it's a hard, it's a long process.
Yeah,
man.
dude.
But hey, you just do it, man.
So you were in Palestine. What year were you in Palestine?
What year? 2017.
Okay.
To 2019. Yeah.
And then you heard that FAR was hiring, or
I applied for FAR, and the first time they had a round of interviews and all that, and I made it to the top. I was one of the finalists or whatever, but it didn't work out at that time. So just kind of went on my way. I was an interim chief in Ennis, Texas, también allá in North Texas for a little while, and I get this phone call from one of the assistant city managers, and she says, "Hey, man, would you still come down, be interested in being the FAR chief?" And I hadn't thought about it in a long time. I said, let me talk to my wife, right? Let me start there, right?
Yeah.
But you know what? Something about it, man, and the story we were talking about earlier about being from here and the opportunity to come back and to serve, man. I was like, wow. And so that really stuck with me. So long story short, we said, let's go. And here we are, man, in FAR, Texas, man. Love it.
What is it, Johnny, that inspires a person to become a law enforcement officer? I mean, it's one of those gigs that it's sometimes it's not appreciated as much as it should be, and they're always held under a microscope. And you have a lot of these those Monday quarterbacks or armchair quarterbacks or whatever that say, well, they need to do this, and they try to tell you what they needed. They don't know. Right. I mean, it's like being a policeman it's not of the easiest job. What is it that inspires somebody to do that?
Yeah, no, it's it has its challenges, right? But when you get into law enforcement, you don't you kind of have to learn it, right? So you get in there thinking, hey, we're going to do this, but as you go and you go along a couple of years and you kind of realize, oh, you know what, our role is to try to help the community, to kind of trying to push forward and do what we can, with, of course, following certain laws and what have you. But ultimately, it's just adding value, lifting up a city. What can we do to help each other and one another? And it's not just police, though. It involves a team effort, right? So it's not, it's just not police. No, it takes really everybody in the community to come together. a lot of times policing is like, well, it's just police. No, it really takes everybody to lift up a city. Right?
Yeah.
So that's, and one thing that I learned from what Chief Harvey said, let's lift up a city and how we do that. So
yeah,
it takes a lot of people, right? And
you have to be also in tune with the community. I mean, that's why you all do the national night outs. That way the community and even the fire department does that también. We did a fire department thing here in Edinburgh.
Yes.
And the kids and the families can all go and then get to meet the firemen, the fire department, the city, the people that serve them and save them in case they're in any trouble, right?
Right.
It's just it's interesting that sometimes people don't realize how tough it is to be a cop, right?
It is, and to manage public perception, right? It's a hard thing, right? It really is. It's a hard thing, especially in today's world, man. But that's why we do the things we do. We don't do it, we want to build trust and confidence, and we want people to know us. We want to know them, so that when things happen, we know each other already. We're not like a new thing. Hey, who are you? No. We're part of this community, and the guys here, they hear me say this a lot, and it's true. The police department has a influence to lift up a city or even tear it down. That's how much influence a police department has. And we've decided to lift up a city, and that's why we do all those things. And we believe that it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's crazy because there's been isolated incidents, and I know some people might say, no, it's rampant or whatever. These past few years, you see, altercations between police and an individual, and then the individual gets shot, and then, you saw the George Floyd stuff, man. Yes, sir. What did you guys think about that George Floyd stuff, bro? I mean, when you saw that, do you think the cop got the correct sentence for what he did, and do you think everything was?
I actually do, Rock, and it's one of those things that policing has changed, and it's time for us call it. If it's good, call it. If it's bad, call it. Yeah. And what he did to George Floyd, let's just call it what it is. It was wrong. It was excessive, more than excessive, and so we just can't do that anymore, Rock. And not that it was right in the first place, but certainly these days just can't do that. And so yeah, I think he got what he deserves. I know it's a sad deal for a lot of people, but you know what? That's the way it played out, man. And
and I'm hoping that with that situation, law enforcement, we're always learning, right? Every day, hey, you know what? This is what's happening. So, like in this case,
there was
a horrible situation.
There was that lady also that was, I don't know how long, she was like a veteran, and she was reaching for what she thought was her.
That was tough.
The taser, and it ended up being the gun, and she shoots the individual. And so she got about 40, 50 years or something like that, right?
I watched that trial, man, and that was
What do you all think when you see trials end like that? I mean, does it affect the way the way you conduct any type of stop or any type of
well, the way we
incident?
We have to, Rock. We have to look at those, and when something like that goes down, we have to look at that and say, what can we do better? What do we do right, wrong, whatever, and how can we move forward, getting better? We have to. If we don't do that, then we're just going to be doing the same thing. How are we going to get better if we don't look at at incidents like that and say, wow, I wonder what she was thinking. How did that happen? Was a taser on the wrong side? How does whatever that is? But we have to look at it, and it's not easy to to look at officer involved shootings and those all the things that we've seen lately, but we have to, but we have to learn from them. How do we get better? That's the whole reason behind it.
Now, the narrative right now is that there's a crime surge happening here in the United States, and in all these big major cities, and you've even got some policemen that have been shot in New York. I think we have a screenshot of that. There was a policeman, a young guy, man, 22 years old.
Yes.
He was in the Bronx, Jason Rivera, and he was killed in the line of duty in Harlem. And there was another policeman that was shot just not long ago. And then you go to the one in Houston, the constable that was shot by, I think the guys from San Salvador, Oscar Rosales was his name. They caught him in Ciudad Acuña. And he just stepped out of the car and shot the constable. Poor guy was just sitting in the cop car, pulled him over, and he got shot and killed. And then just today, a suspect accused of shooting 3 Houston PD officers identified as Roland Caballero. And it happened in the third ward. Why do you think now that a lot of these incidents are happening more frequently, man? I mean, these guys, they're not afraid of the cops, or what's going on, man?
You know, it's really hard to pinpoint. There's a lot of factors, but, you know, I think a lot of the rhetoric, a lot of what we've seen in the last few years has led to that, and I think that's added to that. You know, you never know what's going on in people's minds, to be honest with you. At the very end of the day, you don't know what they're doing and what they think and why they're doing the things that they do, why they would shoot an officer, ambush one, you know, just for the hell of it, right? You don't know, and it's a hard thing to pinpoint. So
you were part of the one in Dallas. I mean, you were there when that happened. The guy ambushed the 5 policemen and shot him, killed them.
They were just standing there.
And then here in McAllen, they go and knock on a door, and a guy opens the door and shoots each one of them in the head and kills 2 policemen. Yes. I mean, people don't understand the danger going on right now.
It's extremely dangerous, and you just never know who.
But what do you think has caused it? Do you think the news media has caused it? Do you think policies in those cities that have caused it? Do you think that after all those riots that happened back in 2020? After all that, do you think it kind of gave people like, you know what, we can do anything and get away with it? Because they were burning down precincts, in Minnesota and shit like that. And that stuff's been seen all over the United States on national television, on the internet. You see it all. And so I would imagine people that are criminals see that and they say, no, right now's the time to get away with shit, right? Or what?
You know, I think that all of the above, Rock. I mean, all of that, I think, has something to do with the psyche of of this nation right now. But I think there's also a lot of mental illness. I think people are, addicted, to different drugs and all those stuff. I think all of that and above, all the above, is a contributing factor. But and I don't know if it's going to get better, man. I hope it does. But I know there's a lot of division in this country, and there's a lot of hate and a lot of negativity, and we can only hope that it gets better.
There's no middle ground anymore.
No, there's no middle ground.
It's kind of crazy.
You're on one side or you're on the other, and that's it.
Only the people that are pragmatic and have common sense are willing to, hear the other side, and let's try to meet in the middle, come up with solutions. And there's no solutions.
Well, that's the problem, man. We're not listening. We're really not listening to each other, man. Mm-hmm. And we have this problem in policing, right? Where how people perceive us and what they think that they know what we do, and then so there's a lot of mutual misunderstanding. But at the same time, a lot of times we're not listening to each other. Mm-hmm. We got to sit down and have this dialogue like that we're about to have, that we're having, and really get into what's going on in people's mind. We got to know what you think of us and how we need to do what we need to do to get better, so we can work together, not divisive. Yeah, we got to work together. We can't do this alone or on one side. And so it's the same thing if you're on the left or right or whatever. Until you get together somewhere and meet some common ground, nothing's going to get done, and nothing's going to get better.
Yeah, and it's crazy because they just they're constantly bickering, and it's all about coming up with solutions. That's what it's all about, man.
Well, again, right, you just got to be open and listening, but I'm not sure that that's happening as much as it should. Yeah.
So, the crime surge is, like I was saying, is growing, and you were mentioning drugs right now. How bad is the drug problem here in the Rio Grande Valley, dude?
Listen, it's not as bad or worse or better than, anywhere else, any town USA. A lot of people think, we get a bad rap, right? Hey, the Valley, and people think that cartels and, crazy crime. That's not the case, man. The drugs that are coming to here are coming through here, right? They're going up to your place, wherever you're at, in any town USA. I mean, obviously some stays here, but most of it is going to wherever you're at, in Dallas and Michigan and New York and LA and wherever else. And so, it comes through here, but it doesn't stay here now. It's going up to your place, and so that's the challenge. But I hear a lot of that rhetoric, though, at Rio Grande Valley and down there in South Texas, and it's crazy, and I wouldn't go down there. It's one of the safest places you can actually be.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. And, it's a close-knit community. Everybody knows everybody. You know, we're talking about, you know, what happened with George Floyd and then the lady that shot that individual, and then you had those people in Kenosha, Wisconsin, as well, that shot the guy, and then that whole deal with the Kenosha kid, you know, with Kyle Rittenhouse, who ended up being exonerated, but you know, with self-defense. Right. Did you keep up with that trial by any chance?
Of course. I mean, you know, all that is, we have to know what's going on out there and what the mentality is and kind of check the temperature out there. So, yeah, it was riveting, man.
Yeah. So you all had an incident like that in Far, right? There was a mental illness type of situation going on.
Yeah.
And the police officer had to shoot somebody or something like that, or... Was that a while? Was that a couple of years ago? Were you here already or no?
It must have been before I got here. The one I was thinking of, Rock, is we had a guy that shot towards one of our officers. Thank God he missed. But this guy was had a lot of mental illness. He was in crisis, and we were able to talk him down and all that, and get him in custody. So I don't know if that's the same one, but that's the one I remember.
Johnny, do you remember anything like that? Was something happened? I think a FAR police officer was involved in a shooting. And it was apparently the mother, the kid was like being a terror at the house or at the apartment, and the mom called the cops, and the cops went in there, and he was wielding a gun, or I don't know what he was doing.
Yeah,
right.
Now I know. Yeah. It's the first one.
Yeah, it's the first one when you came in. It was Mel that was brandishing a gun. You know?
Right.
And then officers approached it, saw the gun, and then from an incident happened from there.
But you know what happened in that one is that. You know, Mom called us, right, because he was terrorizing the home, and I remember that when you said that. Oh yeah, that's right. And you know, the officer shot, but you know, he survived, man. That young man survived.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
But stuff like that happens just like that, man. And
it doesn't. But it's not. And it doesn't really happen a lot down here. You know, you hear about it in those big cities like that, right?
Yeah. It's a tough situation for the officers to be in too when they see a weapon there, and then. You know, you don't know what to come up with.
And then they end up having it's a toy gun or something, or a pellet gun. I mean, how is a policeman supposed to know that? I mean, I don't know what is so hard about just saying, yes, sir, here's sir, you know, I mean, just follow instruction. Even though sometimes, you know, I mean, you got to admit there are some cops that are, you know, they're kind of not bullies, but, you know, they push their weight around a bit.
Yeah.
You know, just follow through and just let him be him and get the hell out of there and go take care of it another day. But
it's true, Rock, and not many, but they're there. I talk about it in that book. You know, I said, you know, I can probably sum up this book into 4 words, and it's in the book. So here we go. Don't be an asshole. That's it. Mm-hmm. Don't be that. Don't be that cop, right?
I know, dude.
You don't have to do that anymore.
There's no need for it.
There's no need for it. I mean, so treat people with dignity and respect, right? And most people respond well to that, man. Mm-hmm. Seriously,